Okay, good morning, guys. I am on location today at On Point Barbershop, and we're going to be talking to Tyler Cook today. So, without further ado, I'll get you off my ugly face and over to him. All right, good morning, Tyler.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
All right, so we're starting on the chapter professionalism at work. So I thought, or at school, so I thought it would be really good to kind of come and interview a former student who now has his own business. So Tyler was one of my best students. He got Professional Student of the Year last year. So he was a very good student, always did exactly what I asked him to do, never talked back, and was just all around good student. So I'm very proud of Tyler. All right, so Tyler, tell me about kind of how you decided to enroll in barber school and kind of share a little bit of your testimony leading up to that decision.
So, good morning, guys. Glad to be here. Glad Miss Cheri's asked me to do this. And, my path to barber school was kind of a different one. I'm not from Campbellsville, but, I ended up in Campbellsville through some choices that I made in life. I wasn't the best of people right before I got here. My past is a little checkered, I guess you would say. At around 18 to 19 years old, I was doing some things. I was doing drugs and drinking a lot, and I went to treatment and I got sober, and I stayed sober for about 8 years. And then after about 8 years, I quit doing the things that I knew to keep me sober, like praying and building a relationship with God. And I was starting to hang around the wrong people again. It wasn't long after that I relapsed. And the next 5 years of my life was a downward spiral. It took me to places that I never thought I would be. Basically homeless. Was sleeping outside, doing all kinds of things that, like I said, I'd never thought that I would be doing, and I would never wish on my worst enemy. I thought my life was over. I thought that there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I contemplated doing bad stuff to myself. Just I didn't really want to hurt myself, but when you're in the situation that I was in, and like so many others are in, you think the worst things, and you think that there's never going to be anything good come out of your life. But I'd gotten some trouble, and God had other plans for me for sure. I'd gotten some trouble, and you never know where your help's going to come from. I always said I didn't like police and judges and things like that, man. But there's been multiple times in my life that them people's helped me. So anyways, I'd gotten some trouble, and I got sent to a place here in Campbellsville, Kentucky. It's called the Healing Place, and if y'all are familiar with Campbellsville at all, it's right across the road basically from the barbering school. So when I got sent to the Healing Place, I'd been on the streets pretty much for 5 years. It wasn't looking too healthy. My weight was down, and I didn't know what I was wanting to do with my life, man. And as soon as I got there, I started doing the things that I knew had kept me sober before. I started praying, and I started getting in my Bible and getting in some other spiritual books, and just started doing the things that I knew had worked for me before. And as I worked my way through this program, things started getting better for me. And the building that y'all are in right now, the barbering school, it used to not be a barbering school. When I got to Campbellsville, it was actually the building that we had to trudge to class to every day. So we had to walk from the building that I was in at the Healing Place. We walked over to the building that y'all are in right now, or I guess y'all are at home right now, but the building where your school is used to be the place where we went to class every day. So I was in that building for a couple hours a day. Would walk back to the place where I was in, and as I was in that place, growing up, I'd always liked haircuts and hairstyles and things like that, but I never thought anything about being a barber. So I had some clippers, I think, when I was there, and there's not many people, we don't have as many opportunities to get haircuts and things like that there. So there's always somebody there that thinks they can cut hair, or somebody that might be pretty good at cutting hair. So I was probably one of them that couldn't cut hair, but I wanted to learn how to cut hair. So I had clippers, and Sally's was right across the road from that building. So a lot of the spare time that I would have, I'd be running over to Sally's and looking at the clippers and seeing different tools and things. Barbering still never was a thought to me, but I would run over there and see what different types of tools and trimmers and all kinds of stuff, man, just to be doing something really. And so I remember my first pair of clippers that I bought from Sally's over there was I think it was some blackout Andes cordless T outliners. They was like $125 clippers at the time. Well, I wanted to go on and buy them, but I was I didn't want to spend that money, so I waited a little while, and they actually went down to like $50 or $60 for some kind of sale they was having. And I was still, I had some money, but I didn't have a whole lot of money to blow at the time. So I waited, and I didn't buy them clippers. And then I waited like another week, and it was sometime around Christmas, and they had them for another 50% off. So I got some Andes cordless T outliners for $25. So that was my first pair of professional trimmers that I ever bought. Anyways, I went on and I ended up buying a set of Andes Pivot Pro clippers, the clipper and the trimmer. But make a long story short, man, I was in this treatment program, and I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, or trying to the best of my ability to do what I was supposed to be doing. And I got interested in cutting hair. I messed a few people's heads up, maybe one or two. The other heads wasn't really messed up, but they wasn't that good at cuts. But people in there was making fun of the way I cut hair. So just clowning and wrecking. Nothing malicious, but so that motivated me to learn how to cut hair better, because I didn't like anybody laughing at me or telling me I couldn't do something. So every opportunity that I got when I got out of that building, I was going someplace with Wi-Fi and using the phone and watching haircut videos. 360 Jeezy, I watched him a whole lot. There's quite a few barbers that I watched, but every opportunity that I had, I was watching tutorials, and I would take what I seen in them tutorials and come back to that place, and the next person that wanted a haircut, I would try to do what I seen in them videos. Well, progressed, I was getting towards the end of this program, and I had my little toolkit, my barbering toolkit, and I didn't know what I was wanting to do with my life. There was a lot of things that I knew how to do, but I didn't want to go back home where I was from. So barbering, I kept thinking about that I wanted to be a barber, but there was nowheres around to go to barbering school at. There was nowheres around to go to school at, and I just kept praying. And I talked to the director of that program at the time, and he kept telling me to pray. We keep praying, and then God will show me what He wants me to do. I didn't have a car or anything, and I was wanting to go to barber school. There wasn't. There's a school in maybe Bowling Green, a couple in Louisville. There were some schools in Kentucky, but there's no way that at the time that I would be able to get to them. So, I kept praying and asking God to show me what He wants me to do. And, I can't make this story up. It's probably documented, or people will verify it for me. I was standing in this building, and these two people would walk through the front door. I wasn't paying attention to them, but these two people walked through the front door. They talked to that director that I was talking about that, kept telling me to pray about it, and God will show me what He wants me to do. These two people walked in, they talked to that director, and I heard the director say, "I know a guy that might be interested right here." And he turned around, and I was standing right there. Well, them two people happened to be Jason Roop. I'm sure y'all have met Jason. And Bootsy Scaff, is that her name, Scaff? Mm-hmm. Bootsy, which used to be the instructor at the barber school, the original instructor, I think, before Miss Cheri was there. I think she's in Somerset now. Mm-hmm. But anyways, they had come in, and I guess they had talked to the director, and then he come and talked to me. But anyways, they told me that they was putting in a barber school, right across the road at that same building. And a few months before this, the school, the university had took that building back. We didn't know what they was doing with it, but they took it back. Well, so they told us they was putting a barber school in there, man. And I've been praying every day for God to show me what He wanted me to do. And barbering was something that just kept weighing on me, man. And like I said, I can't make this up. So you can't tell me there wasn't some kind of divine intervention that the same building that I was going to attend these classes, and I left this part out, but it's also the same building that I was teaching classes in. They put a barbering school right in the middle of Campbellsville, Kentucky, right across from the building that that I was living in, and in the building that I had been going to classes and teaching classes in. So there's no doubt in my mind that was a prayer answered, and God just showing me where He wanted me to be. So I don't think I'm special or anything, but that's definitely in my opinion, that's definitely a sign from God. So you can take that how you want it, but today, I waited a little bit. I was kind of nervous to go do the paperwork and to do all that stuff. I didn't know what how hard it was going to be. I had a little fear, so I didn't know how the paperwork was going to be. I didn't know what the process was going to be. So I dragged my feet for a little bit, but. One day I went to the barbering school and I got my application, I guess, and then I took it to the main campus, and I went to the financial aid people, and within 5 minutes they had all my paperwork done, they had me approved for the money and everything. So man, and here we sit today. A barbering school is a great experience for me. If there's anything that I could suggest to anybody, was just don't turn down any haircuts. Learn how to cut any type of hair that walks through the door. Coarse hair, curly hair, straight hair, black hair, white hair, Mexican hair, don't matter. With long hair, just don't turn it down and don't be scared. Obviously, there's a little fear when you first start doing something that you've never done, but Miss Cheri's there. She's not gonna let you mess it up too bad. She'll fix it if she can, and that's the main thing, is don't turn down any cuts and learn how to use your shears. Everybody, a lot of you probably think that some of you, I don't know who's in the class right now, might think that you're never gonna use shears, or you're not gonna, all you're gonna do is fades. Or when I got to school, I didn't think that I was gonna be cutting long hair, women's hair. I didn't know. All I thought was I wanted to do was cut fades. That's kind of what I thought, but that's one skill that I haven't mastered. But I feel like when Miss Cheri taught us how to do it, I took to it well and tried to learn everything that I could. I'm still learning, but it's one of the skills that I possess that I'm proud of. Not everybody, anybody could, but not when you walk into a barbershop. Not everybody's as good with shears as they could be. So learn them as best as you can, and they will come in. They are a necessity. I'm not going to say they'll come in handy. It's a necessity to barbering, in my opinion. Your shear game has to be on point.
Absolutely. So kind of along those lines, is there anything that you learned in school that you really didn't think you would use, but now that you're out here in the real world, you actually were surprised that you do actually use and do?
Shears would be the biggest thing. When people ask me, when we talk about barber school or whatnot, they have questions. The first thing I tell them is the shears is the biggest. Anybody can fade, and has an idea of what a fade's supposed to look like, but holding the shears and learning how to transfer your comb and different things is real important, and something that I really didn't think too much about, but it's one of the things that I didn't think that I would, perms, I didn't think I would learn how to perm, didn't think that was a part of barbering, and
And you've already made money on some perms.
I've made money on quite a few perms. It's a good skill to have, with my perms. I always, me personally, I always try to schedule them at the end of the day, because not everybody likes smelling the aroma that the perm gives off. So I try to schedule my appointments at the end of the day, so that my building can air out, and not a lot of people's in here. So that's a suggestion for y'all if you're ever in the shop. The expectations of the school, I didn't really know what to expect. You know, I know I can see how everybody could have different experiences. Sometimes it's slow in there. There's not as many, you know, when I was in there wasn't a whole lot of cuts that come through. But, you know, I just made the best of my time. I watched videos. I got in my book. I studied my state board exam. I went through the laws and sanitation questions. I used those flashcards. You know, there's always something you can do. You know, not everything that's worth having doesn't come easy. So, you know, barbering school wasn't difficult for me. It wasn't always the most exciting all the time, but you know, I wanted it bad enough that, you know, I made use of my time, and I feel like I'm reaping some rewards of my hard work in school. You know, you know, just find something to do.
Right.
And you know, get in your book, get on watch videos, ask questions, get with your classmates, and do whatever you can. And if I could go back to school, to be honest, I don't know anything that I would do different. To be honest, I mean, I feel like I studied my exams. I made 100 on quite a few exams, and I think my lowest grade was probably a 90 something or upper 80s on a quiz. So, but I don't know if there's anything that I would change. You know, I might try to get there a few minutes. I didn't have a car for a part of the time when I was in school, and I was always running right on time to get there. So I would try to get there just a little bit earlier. But you know, as far as what I could have done different, I think that I did everything to the best of my ability.
That's good. So moving along, what about your state board test? Okay, so tell us a little bit about that. How did you plan for it? What was the experience compared to what I taught you as far as the actual test goes? In other words, like, you know, I try to prepare my students for the state board test. So how did what I prepare you for compare to the actual test? Was it pretty similar?
Everything that Miss Cheri taught, you know, showed us and told us and explained to us, and what we had to go through in school when we was practicing for the exam was exactly how it went at the state board exam. So, you know, you got a whole year or so to learn this stuff. So, you know, start practicing now, and don't cram it in at the end of your school time. You know, when you get to that point, you need to be prepared and be able to do it without thinking about it, without being nervous, being confident. So yeah, start learning now, even if it's just you know, you work on one thing a week, you know, getting it right, and move on to the next thing, and getting every step, you know, being confident with every step that you do along the way. And you got plenty of time to learn. And you know, as far as the exam part, you know, I studied it. You know, I spent a lot of time studying. You know, I would lay in bed at night, and my wife would ask me, you know, 50 questions, and I would answer them, and I would get most of them right. I'd be at school and take practice exams if there wasn't nothing to do. So, you know, I think any of y'all will be able to pass that exam no problem if you put in the effort and the time studying. Those 3 practice tests in the back, in my opinion, if you if you study all them, I think, and you do well on them, I think you'll be able to pass the state board exam no problem.
That's awesome. So on your state board test, was there any areas in the test that you felt like you were kind of weak at, you know, needed a little more practice at, or did everything go pretty smooth?
Written or oral?
Either one.
To be honest, I think everything went pretty smooth, other than I was, you know, the written exam. To me, I studied and was pretty confident with it, so you know, I went through it pretty quick, which could be a good thing or bad thing. You know, I was confident with most of the answers. There was one answer on there in particular, or one question in particular, that kind of tripped me up. I think I missed 3. I missed 3 or 4 on my written exam, and I should have missed none, but I should have missed 1 or 2, but 2 questions on there that kind of tripped me up a little bit. So, you know, just study, man. And if you can, you know, you have, obviously you want to get the highest score, but if you can't miss 12 or less on that test, and you haven't studied enough, in my opinion. 12 is a big, a good amount of number of questions that you can miss and still pass. So just study.
I agree. So after you passed your test and got your license, did you go to work for somebody right out of school, and how was that?
I waited about a month because the building that I'm sitting in right now, I was waiting for it to get ready for me to move my shop into it. So I actually went to another barber for about 3 months in Lebanon and worked. Pretty much 3 months after I started cutting hair, I opened my own shop. And here in 11 days, my shop will be open a year. So,
oh wow, I didn't know that.
December the
Happy
20th.
anniversary.
Yeah, December the 20th will be a year that we've been open
That's
here.
right. Yeah, it was in December. So my next question was you already kind of touched on it a little bit, but how did you come about finding out about this shop? Did you just see it? How did you find this place?
Actually, I had no clue it was here. Like I said earlier, I'm not from Campbellsville, and if you didn't know this shop was here, you probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't see it. If you wasn't from here, or if somebody didn't tell you, or you hadn't been here, you probably wouldn't see it. The way I found out about it is I'd been in barber school for about a month, no more than 2 months, and this older gentleman come in the shop one day. His name was Joe Luckett. I don't know if Miss Cheri remembers Joe or not, but his name was Joe Luckett. He used to always come in, and I cut his hair the first time, and he kept coming back to me to cut his hair. And probably the second or third visit, he told me that I should come up on Main Street and get the shop because the barber that was here before had passed away. And I never met the guy, but everybody says good things about him, and he was always busy in here. And so anyways, the Joe had told me that I need to come up here and get this shop. Well, I didn't know anything about the shop, so I rode by here and looked at it, but I didn't think that there would be no possible way that I could get it because I'd only been in school a month. So I really didn't want to pay for a building. A few $100, $500, whatever the rent was. I didn't know what the rent was, but I didn't want to pay for a building that I couldn't use for about a year while I was in school. So through another series of events, after this shop sat empty for about a year and a half, 2 years, and a year and a half or so, and I still ended up with it. So I think that was another God thing, to be honest, because this building right here on Main Street, prime location in my opinion. Not the biggest building, but it's a really good location, and it just sat empty for me until I got here. So
God had it all planned out for you.
I think so.
I think so too. It was meant to be. So when you were in school, and I do this every class or whatever, but we did a project where you kind of got a shop together, as far as cost and all that stuff. So, I have some students before that have, complained about it, or just kind of really didn't put in a lot of research on this project. You did really well on your project. So how did that project compare to the real thing, to getting this shop together? Was the expenses more, less, comparable? So what all did it take to get this shop together? I know you pretty much started it from the ground up, even though it was a barbershop before.
Well, this was a barbershop before, but anything that you can see in here right now has been changed. There used to be 2 stations back here, so it was, I didn't remodel. Well, the landlord, he put the drywall and things up. I painted, but we started from the ground up. As far as the stuff that I had in the shop, I had most of my some of my tools already, but as far as my my stations and everything that I got in here, I tried to get the best quality things that I could for the least amount of money, like everybody probably does. But as far as my project in school, I think my cost was a little bit less getting started. just because, you know, I waited and was patient and found some good deals on some things. And but all, you know, the project was a good experience. It was pretty accurate with the bills and things like that. I think that what I had on my project, the bills were all pretty accurate to what I'm paying now. So you know, that project was a good tool. So take it serious, and you know, yeah, just take it serious, and that's it.
What is your biggest piece of advice for anybody? I myself have had several shops. One I put in, you know, from the ground up, everything. It wasn't a barber shop before. It was just an old house that me and my husband at that time put in a shop. So I kind of know how that was. And then my second shop I owned was actually a shop that was previously a barber shop. So I didn't have to put in a lot of stuff in there except for just, you know, repainting it the color I wanted. You know, in my experience, you know, I worked for somebody else for several years before I opened my shop. So that kind of gave me some experience and kind of let me see the barber world as a whole before I jumped into a shop, because it's a big commitment.
Yes, I would suggest going to work with somebody, you know, for at least the 6 months, because, you know, there's a lot of things that can come up. You know, when trust me, you're gonna be nervous when you first go to the barber shop. I think everybody is, you know, no matter how confident or whatever you know you think you might be, when you first go to the barber shop to work, man, there's, you know, that you know, initial nervousness and wanting to do things right and wanting to you know, not mess up or whatever the case may be. So, you know, the first shop that I went to, man, the guy that I worked with, there was you know, it was good for me because there was things that I wasn't quite sure about, because the type of hair that I was cutting most of the time at that location wasn't the hair that I was best on. So it gave me a lot of experience with another type of hair, and I was able to, he was able to show me, or I was able to sit back and watch him when he didn't know I was watching him, and I could learn how to do some things that I didn't know how to do before. So, you know, I feel like it's probably best to work with somebody else, just so that when something comes up and you're not exactly sure what to do, you know, you can have somebody kind of guide you or give you instruction on what they would do or suggestions on what they would do. So, you know, like I said, I would suggest going to work with somebody for, you know, a little while at least.
Right, barbershops. I mean, owning your own shop is it's nice, but it is a big commitment. So one of those commitments are employees, and you know, I've had to deal with employees, and or you know, not technically you can't consider them employees, but barbers that come to work for you. So, what does professionalism mean to you? As far as I know for yourself, but you know, what do you look for in a barber? You know, when you're looking to fill a chair in your shop, what do you look for? What does that professionalism mean to you?
The first thing that I look for is somebody who is going to be courteous to the clients. You know, when somebody walks in the door, if I'm, you know, cutting somebody or whatever, one of us need to say, how you doing, or welcome, man, how's it going, something right when they walk in the door. You know, if I'm not in mid-sentence with somebody else, I'm talking to welcoming the person who walks through the door every time. If I'm doing something and Ty, who works with me here, you know, we're always greeting our clients. I think that's really important. And, you know, the second thing is, you know, we're working on appointments right now for the most part. We're not necessarily not supposed to be doing walk-ins, but appointments are preferred right now. I want somebody who's gonna be here. If they have an appointment with the client, they need to be here before their client gets here. You know what I mean? It's not a good look when somebody has an appointment and they show up and their barber is not here. I want somebody who's gonna, you know, keep their area clean, be courteous to the clients, be professional. You know, not do a whole lot of, you know, depending on who's in the barbershop, you know, your music that you're listening to or your conversations and things can change, but not everybody wants to hear the same kind of talk and same kind of music. So, you know, it's not being fake. It's just being, you know, adjusting the environment to your guests or your clients that are in your shop. You know, if grown men are in here and we want to listen to music that, you know, music that might not be suitable for women or children, we can do that. But if a child or a woman or somebody walks in the door that we don't think that's appropriate for, you know, we change the music and the tone and everything. I want somebody who's gonna, you know, be on time, be courteous, be clean, be punctual, you know, have themselves together when they get to work for the most part. You know, I don't have a dress code, but you know, I don't want somebody in here with you know, looking like they just rolled out of bed or something. So you know, that's what I look for.
That's one of Miss Cheri's biggest pet peeves. Y'all all know that. You make sure when you come to work, you look like you're ready for work.
Oh, yeah.
So
and all that starts in barber school, in my opinion.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
Sure
does.
Y'all probably aren't super busy right now with the pandemic and everything going on, and I know that sucks for y'all. It's took a toll on us the last few weeks as well, but you know, there might be another one in the future. So just, you know, get prepared now and just practice all the things that you would want an employee to do in your barbershop. You need to be practicing that same things now.
Absolutely. So I'm sure, I'm 100% sure that you've never had this happen. But how would you handle a complaint from a client as far as whether about you or one of your employees, one of your barbers? How do you handle complaints? I'm sure you've not had any, but if you did, how would you handle a complaint like that?
To be honest, I haven't had, since I've been cutting hair, I haven't in this shop or the other shop, I haven't to my face. You know, I'm not saying somebody hasn't said anything behind, you know, when I wasn't around, but I've probably had 2 clients come back, and it wasn't really complaints. It was just something that they wanted to change, or something that they didn't know why I did it this way, and they didn't like it. So, you know, as far as when it was with me, you know, I just fixed the problem and made sure they was happy. I've never had any major complaints in my shop, but if I did, you know, I would just do everything I could to make it right with that client. Whether that, you know, I'm not, I would rather give somebody a free haircut, a free service or something, than have them go on social media and, you know, blast the barbershop or you know. And another thing is, you know, the guys that work with me, you know, Tyron, whoever else is in my third chair, you know, they're not employees of mine. And you can ask Tyron, I don't call him an employee. If anybody, you know, I'll have people say my employees, and I always tell them they're not my employees. They're, you know, they're their own boss. They just work in the shop with me. But they're not my employees, but they reflect on the barbershop. So they reflect, you know, their actions reflect on the On Point Barber Studio name, which is, you know, mine and my family's barbershop. So, you know, I take that pretty serious. You know, the guy that I have in here with me right now, Tyron, you know, I don't have too many worries about him. You know, he's here when he says he's going to be here. He treats everybody, you know, with respect. You know, a good young man who's got a bright future. So, but you know, if I had any complaints, you know, I would just, I would probably try to make it up. I would try to fix the problem if it was fixable. If not, then I would try to offer, you know, a way to make it up in the future, whether it be a free product or a free service, anything that I could do to make it up within reason, to keep someone from going on social media or something to blast the barbershop. I would try to do.
That's good. So there's a common misconception in the barber world that, no, we are not employees. Okay, we do not get a paycheck. We're not on payroll, so we are not classified as an employee. We are self-employed. But there is a common misconception in the barber world sometimes that I'm my own boss and I do what I want. So that's not necessarily true if you're working for somebody else. So what would cause you as a shop owner, and I know you very well, Tyler, and I know you would give everybody every chance in the world, but what would you as a shop owner just say, I've had enough and I'm going to have to let you go? Because you can get fired in this business. I've had to do it, and it was unpleasant at times, but it does have to be done occasionally. So as a shop owner, what would be the last straw for you? What would make you just have to let somebody go?
Like you said, Miss Cheri, I probably try to give somebody every chance in the world, especially when it just comes down to skills. You learn. The longer you're in the shop, the more you're gonna learn. I learned, a lot in the first. I'm still learning. I try to still learn today, but you're gonna learn more when you get in the shop. And get that actual, the repetition in. So when it comes to skill, I'm gonna give somebody probably a good month, a month to two to, get their, skill level up. But as far as, ethic, morals and things like that, disrespect my clients really. As far, like I said, when it comes to skills, I'm gonna give somebody ample time to learn how to, to get their skill level up where it's sufficient to cut in the barbershop. I don't feel like we're the best barbers in the world, but I feel like the skills that we have are good enough that we have a good name. So I don't really want to tarnish that name, to be honest.
That's good. And I mean, I don't know any shop owner out there that expects someone right out of school to know, to have, awesome skills. But what I always look for as a shop owner is, am I seeing improvement? Even though they're not where they should be, maybe am I seeing improvement? If I see consistent improvement in somebody, then I know they're teachable and they're learning. So that's something I know a lot of shop owners really, and I know a lot of shop owners, and they do go out of their way to help the new guys, when they come into shops, especially if they're right out of school.
Yeah.
It's different if somebody's been cutting hair 5-10 years and they still can't cut hair. But
and as far as like working here, I think you could ask Ty or anybody that's worked with me. But I'm real, I'm flexible. You are your own boss. The more you're here, the more money you're gonna make. The less you're here, the less you're promoting yourself. I can only do so much. I promote for my guys. Ty does a great job of promoting. But you set your own. We're going by appointments, so I want you to be here for your appointments. But if you're just like Ty, if he's not going to be here, if something comes up, he calls and lets me know. Man, that's cool. I want you to be here as much as possible, but I understand that when I got into barbering, that I wanted to have some flexibility as well, because I have a family and there's things that I need to do. So he knows that he can. If he has something to do, he can just call me and let me know.
What you're saying is kind of, dependability doesn't necessarily mean being here every single time the doors are open. Dependability, somebody that's dependable is also going to be responsible.
Absolutely.
So, things happen. You wake up, you're sick, or, your kids are sick. If you have children, I know Ty doesn't have kids, but being responsible is being dependable, I think. So that's awesome. So, I know you do a lot of work for, I know you're involved with the Healing Place and in other ways, but as a barber, what are some ways that as a barber we can give back to our community?
I have a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've had probably, since I've been in business, probably 10 people walk through the door, wanting maybe a donation. Or a big thing that I try to do is when they have these benefit auctions and things, I've already donated to 2 or 3 benefit auctions for causes, like when somebody's sick, like the last one, I can't remember the exact cause, but there was a girl that was sick and they was having a benefit auction, so me and my wife put together a basket, and I had some products in there. some merchandise, gift certificate, and different things. So I try to help anytime that it's for something like that. And then I also had the lady from basically Blessed out here. I think it's like the soup kitchen or whatever you want to call it. And they give out meals. Where they had a poker run. They had a motorcycle rally, poker run, whatever you want to call it, and they had a auction for it. So I donated a basket to it, and I try to donate to like some of the sports programs and different things. I'm involved with the healing place, like you said. So I usually, some of them guys, a lot of them don't necessarily have a lot of money when they're coming through there. So I might donate a haircut, or I might give them a deeply discounted haircut, or usually when the guys finish the program out there, I usually give them all one free haircut. And so I try to work with people in the community to the best of my ability.
So you've already touched on this some, but what's some good advice or good tips you would have for someone to start building a clientele?
Social media. The more you're posting and the more your people seeing you, the more they're gonna know about you, and the more they're gonna talk about you. So I'm sure people probably get tired of seeing some of my stuff in the news feed, but at least they're seeing me, and that they're telling somebody about it. Or I also I keep a business card close. Keep some business cards in your car or in your pocket. Every face is an opportunity for another client. If I'm in the gas station, if I'm in, and I'm sure a lot of y'all know that, cutting hair can kind of be a curse, because everywhere you look, you're looking at people's hair and what you would have done different, or what type of cut they got. Or when you're watching TV, you're probably looking at their hair and talking about how good of a cut it is or how bad it is. So, when I'm in gas stations or restaurants or anywhere, I'm always looking at people's hair. And I keep a business card with me, though. I never go to somebody and say, man, your haircut looks horrible. But if they do got a good haircut, man, you got a nice haircut. Who cut your hair? And I'm not client poaching, but I give people the option to come to my barbershop if they ever want to. So I give out a lot of business cards, and I push my barbershop, and I push my brand on social media as much as possible. So
I know what you're saying, because I sat in a movie theater one time, and the guy that was sitting in front of me had a haircut so bad I could not even concentrate on the movie. So trust me, I know exactly what you're saying there. And I just wanted to tap him on the shoulder and hand him a card so bad. So, all right. So I'm sure you've already had to deal with this because you've been out of school for a while. But taxes, we kind of look at taxes a little bit. I know students ask me a lot of questions about taxes, and my answer is get a good CPA. So, do you have any advice on taxes, and do you have a good CPA?
So I don't necessarily have a CPA. I have a guy guy down the street here on Main Street, Mr. Wheatley, that is a tax guy. That he's helped me my first year of taxes, which I didn't have a whole lot, because I think I didn't start cutting until August or September. So I had from August till December 31st. And my first few months I wasn't very busy at all. So I actually showed a loss the first year, because I kept all my receipts for my equipment and my tools and the expenses that I had in this shop. So he helped me through that first year. But this year I've been running all my stuff through the Square app. So everything you put through your Square app, you can get a printout. It breaks it down for you at the end of the year, so you can just take them documents to your tax people, whoever that is, and keep all your receipts and everything. And so it's easy to keep up with it that way. I think this year I'm actually going to use the next year I'm actually going to use QuickBooks or something like that to keep up with my receipts and everything. I have a filing cabinet at home with barbershop receipts, all my bills, water bill, electric bill, gas bill, which I don't have a gas bill here, but whatever kind of bills you have, expenses, I keep all of them in different files, and then I keep all my barbershop receipts in files, and at the end of the year, you can just use all that. And I'll probably have the same guy help me again this year to do it, but next year I'm going to use probably QuickBooks or something.
I know when I was right now, like I pretty much kind of do my own taxes because I get a W-2 and it's a lot. There's no itemization and all that. So, but when I was cutting hair, of course I kept my receipts and kept, my the QuickBooks, stuff like that. But then I always had a tax guy do my taxes for me, mainly because tax laws change every year, and you and I don't keep up with that. They do. So I always highly suggest that people you don't have to keep a CPA on your payroll all year. Just have one to take your stuff to and say, here's all my receipts and all that. And these apps they have now are great because you can, it kind of breaks everything down and it makes the CPA's job or your tax guy a lot easier.
So
because everything's broken down into groups. So with
the Square app, I'm sure a lot of y'all and are familiar with it. It's the credit card processing app, which they take a percentage of all your sales, which in my opinion is a reasonable percentage. But you can also run your cash transactions through it just for your bookkeeping's sake. So something like that's a good tool to have, so you can accept credit cards, and it's super simple to set up. And they also give your free appointment app. There's quite a few apps that come with it that's free, and it all integrates together. So I have my website and everything all linked together. If somebody buys,
there's a lot of great tools that they got. I mean, we didn't have all that. I had a notebook. Most of the years I cut hair, I had a notebook and just wrote everything down and kept my receipts. That's a big thing. But now they have so many different, the technology now makes it so much easier. But anything else you'd like to add? That any good advice? Anything you'd like to add for the students?
Just go after it. If where I come from, just a few short years, I'm celebrating 4 years of sobriety now, and 4.5 years ago, I didn't think that I definitely didn't think that I'd be sitting in my own barbershop on Main Street, just put, if it's something you really want to do, put all the effort you can in it, watch your videos, don't sell yourself short if it's something that you really want to do, and just put all your effort and motivation and everything into it, and just to learn everything you can. We're always going to be learning, never stop learning, but just learn as much as you can, put as much effort into it as you can in barber school. Don't turn any haircuts down. Be willing to do anything, learn all the services that you can, because you never know what somebody's going to walk in the door and ask for or call and ask for when you get in the shop. So you want to be prepared to be able to do anything that your client asks for, and practicing for your state board exam, because if you can't get through that, which I think all of you can, if you can't get through that though, you're not going to get your license. So everything that you've been working on for a year is going to be a waste. So I would hate to go through school for a year and spend that money and waste my time being there and still have to pay for it and not be able to get my license. So the reason you're there is to learn your law and sanitation and to build all your skills in a controlled environment for as long as possible. So put all your motivation and effort into learning everything you can, and you're gonna be all right, man. Just stay motivated, stay focused, and all that downtime that you have, make good use of it, because the only thing you can't get back is time. So make the best of your time while you're in school, and don't turn any haircuts down, and be willing to do anything, especially if it's out of your comfort zone, because that's the only way you're going to learn, is to get out of your comfort zone. We're all real confident in doing things we know, but when you get out and branch out and try to do other things, man, it's when you set yourself apart from other people, and So yeah, that's all I got.
Appreciate you letting me come in and take some of your time up, and I knew who I was gonna ask when I thought of this idea, because like I said, you never would tell me no. So I really appreciate you today, and I'm sure the students do too. They get tired of looking at me every single morning on these live videos, so when they can see another pretty face, then that's all good. So
thank you, Miss Cheri. I
Appreciate it.
appreciate you. Thank y'all guys.